A coaster that has been well received for many years is Diamondback, located at Kings Island, and is a B&M Hyper Coaster. It's a great hyper, one of my favorites, so today I'll be giving you guys my in-depth thoughts on it. So, of course, it's made by B&M, of course, being a hyper. It's a very tall hyper coaster at 230 feet, which does give the coaster lots of speed, which the top speed is 80 miles per hour, very good for a hyper. That angle of descent on the drop is 74 degrees, obviously not the steepest for a drop. No inversions for it being a hyper, and a track length at very solid 5,282 feet long. It opening in 2009 has been consistently ranked as one of the best coasters out there because of many reasons. The main one is the airtime you're going to get, and you're going to be out of your seat a lot on this ride. It's also very good floater airtime on every hill, and also because it is actually pretty intense for a hyper, especially like on the first and second helix. And additionally, there is that visually appearing and cool splashdown at the end, which just looks super cool. The whole layout is pretty much different than your standard hyper out and back layout. Like, there are some twisty moments, not a straight out and back layout. Definitely the back is going to be the better road, but you'll just get pulled along. Like on the drop and the airtime hills, the train is super good, which is great. The trains have stadium seating, which is a reason for the long trains, which since it has those long trains, I would say it was a little sluggish near the end helix and the brake run. It doesn't really take away that much for the ride, but that's just something that I have noticed all the times I've been to Kings Island. Speaking of that, I've been there 3 times and we're in Diamondback multiple times each visit, so I've gotten lots of great rides on it. Probably my favorite ride was when I rode it this past summer. I rode it at night. I mean, that experience was great at night, and it gets super dark in the back. You can barely see a thing out there. I mean, you can see in this POV, it's not even pitch black outside, and you can still, like, you can't see a thing in the back. But then later I rode it in the actual pitch black, and it was awesome. Diamondback is also very smooth. There actually was just a slight rattle to it, but you cannot even notice it, especially for being normal, like to the normal guest that ride it. But anyways, getting to the ride, you will leave the station and go up that lift hill that's pretty normal but fast. Since it's so tall, you get great views of your surroundings, but then it drops you get pulled down, like I said, in the back. The front is also good, don't get me wrong. It's a large drop, super fun, but then coming back is your first airtime hill, delivers great out of your seat floater airtime, but then you come back down and up into a very similar hill that is pretty much the same as the previous hill, then into the farthest moment on this coaster, and that is a very fun and intense turn. It's nothing special compared to like a hammerhead turn or a figure 8 turn around this one. It's just a plain and simple turn, which is good, I guess. Then is once again another airtime hill. This one is smaller, but it probably does give the better airtime than the last 2 ones because it is smaller and it has about the same amount of speed on it. Next is this helix turn up. This is where they take your picture. It's also very intense. One of my favorite elements on Diamondback is just really intense. That mid-course brake run is next, which does slow the ride down quite a bit, but then is 2 smaller airtime hills, which you will notice throughout the coaster the support color changes. In the front area, more of it is yellow supports, which looks nice, but then as the back, there's more of a light tan color that looks fine. It's not as good as the yellow. During those 2 airtime hills, the transitions in color, which the airtime is good as of all the other hills on this ride, but then as a nice helix, this is definitely more visible than the rest of the ride. It's very visual appealing, especially into that splashdown, which the water just shoots up. Looks very cool. It doesn't really add anything to the ride though. It's basically a straight track, but then you'll come floating back up out of your seat into the brakes, your 6th airtime hill. During that moment, it's more sluggish into the brakes, but that just gives you more time floating out of your seat. So, for Diamondback's overall score, it's super fun. Probably my second favorite coaster at Kings Island, but that will probably change when Orion comes. But I will give it a 9 out of 10. Also, probably my second favorite hyper coaster out there, and it's just an overall great coaster. So, what do you think about Diamondback? Post that in the comments below, and hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to subscribe, hit that bell icon to get notified when I post new video. It helps a lot, and see ya.